these two phases are very connected to each other, the bump and the second dip, and depends on each other. There is always a balance between them, because well, finally, by the end of the second dip, we want to catch and stabilize two bells over the head and keep the arm straight. That's actually the whole mission and target of the bump and the second dip. Catch the bells on your straight arms. And you're always kind of balancing the bump and the second dip. And if your bump is not strong enough, then you probably should go to the second dip faster and deeper. Or opposite, if you feel very solid and confident in your bump, then probably second dip can be a bit shorter. And that's actually also depends on the weight of the bells, because obviously when bells lighter, so of course it's a bit less force you need to bump these bells and well, so and react by the second dip. I will repeat it again because it's very important. The main mission of the bump and the second dip to catch bells over your head with completely straight arms and lock elbows. Right after you did the bump, it's time for you to go to the second dip. And as I was mentioned before, you should have applied a full-size bump. When you straighten your legs and lock your knees, that's how you will push elbows, well, the best you can. And the moment when your elbows about the level of the shoulders, that's the time for you to go to the second dip and catch bells over your head. And well, in my opinion, what is the most important thing to do is, again, fast and straight your arm as fast as you can. And again, after the bump is done and we go to the first dip, we should basically go down as fast as we can, and it's not enough to just start moving down. You should force a lockout in your arm by your triceps, like previous kind of classic teaching was that arms should be relaxed, but if our arms will be completely relaxed, then your arm will straight not that fast as you want to, and again you want to do it as fast as you can. So that's why that's okay to use your triceps to force the lockout in your elbow. So after the bump is done, by your triceps basically you push your shoulder down, and that's how you lock your elbow. That's how we think about our shoulder. So we don't want to really move our wrist up because that's where the bell, and we don't want to press them. So I can say that it's quite stable and still standing. So what we do is, by this contraction of triceps, we lock the elbow and move the shoulder down. And that's how upper body work complete. Well, and then it will be next fast, just overhead fixation. So again, first things that you do during the bump is you push your elbows as hard as you can by your legs, and then well, you basically switch off the muscles of your lower body and let your body fall, and you force it by your triceps to lock your elbows and settle the shoulders down. Interesting thing to talk about is your heels. This transaction from your position on your toes to position on the second dip on your heels. And that's actually, there are some misunderstanding about it, because as I said, we need to get to the second dip fast, we need to fall down, and well, one of the signs of it is noise that your heels do, but that's not the case of the second dip, and it's not what you're really working on, and that's not why you do the second dip, to make a noise from your heels. As I said, you just want to get low and you want to keep your arms straight, but it doesn't matter how loud your heels, and actually it even can be performed quite quietly. So show a few reps, you can see I'm not really forcing my heels and throw them to the ground to make a noise. I just want to make sure that they will land on the ground, but again I'm just thinking mostly about how to straighten my arms and lock my elbows. And some of the athletes, they do so much work to drop these heels hard, and actually they forget even to make a bump proper way, because they actually thinking about their low legs, how to apply them and how to really like throw the heels on the ground. So don't think about it that much. You basically even shouldn't think about anything that's under your knee. You shouldn't work with these muscles a lot. And when you do bump, I told you that this muscle above your knee, that's your quads, and your hips do the work. And then when it's time to go to the second dip, again you just kind of relax these muscles and drop down. Your heels should land, of course. Yeah, you should feel the weight on your heels, but again, you just want to be low enough to straight your arms in time. That's the target. I will demonstrate you a few repetitions. Solid first dip, elbows loaded, all weight on your legs. Second dip. And you see, that's actually another good exercise to do. You should be able to stop the bells on the bottom of the second dip. Your weight on your heels, your elbows locked, shoulders settle, and then nice and smooth, so it will be a next fast overhead fixation, and you're ready for drop. Main thing he wants to do, he wants to straighten your arms even a little bit before you will feel the weight of the bells. Front view. And one more time. Okay to use your triceps to force lockout in your elbow. And it's different. We shouldn't press the bells. We shouldn't use the triceps to press the bells, but we should use the triceps to straighten our arms. Shoulders relaxed, elbows standing. First deep. Second deep. You see, you're able to breathe. Shoulders settle, don't keep them high, arms straight. At the beginning, sometimes we can feel that we not able to keep insertion from the rack to overhead fixation, or even this pre-fixation of the second dip. Somehow we lose it on our way up, and that's actually happened by the same reason I mentioned you before, when you're trying to push the body of the bell by your forearm, by your shoulder. So again, if your bump looks the way that you apply some force to the body, well, that's how insertion can be lost for overhead fixation. But to avoid it, again, just imagine, well, not imagine, that's actually how it is, like the weight of the bell right above your wrist. And that's where you apply force. You push the handle and bell is follow. And if you will do it this way, you will never lose the insertion, and the body of the bell will not bounce on your forearm. Just think about it. Just lead the handle up. If you will think this way, connection of the bell and your forearm and insertion will be stable. Doesn't matter on pace that you use. It's a very fast pace, it's very slow pace, it will be stable. Just if you will lead the handle up, if you will not push the body of the bell. Important thing to say is direction of your second dip. And it's better to talk about it with the side view. And if you imagine your second dip, so direction should go down, not backward. And well, some athletes do it this way when after bump they basically even don't squat down, they just move pelvis back and then move pelvis forward, and that's how they get their overhead fixation. But it's not the best thing to do, and it's just too much work for your you basically move the work from your legs to your core and to your back, and I think that's not the muscles that should this work. So when you go to the second dip, make this direction down and make your legs work. So again, after the bump, squat, bend your legs, again control your posture, and then straight your legs. So don't over bend your back when you go to the second dip. Don't move it too far back. After the bump, squat down and then straight your legs.